Hello and welcome. This is Michelle. Thanks for stopping by my channel, PaperStampInk, where you'll receive tips, techniques, and tutorials to inspire you in your own paper crafts and card making projects. If that sounds like something that would benefit you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to tap that bell and you will get notifications whenever I post new projects. So today I want to share with you how we can get 8 pieces or 8 cards out of one piece of our designer series paper. This is a great way to mass produce some cards quickly. So this is a one sheet wonder, and I am going to attempt to make these 8 cards in less than 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and jump in so that I'm not wasting a lot of time up front chit-chatting. I am going to show you what we have for our paper, our stamp, and our ink, and then we'll get started cutting. So I've got 1 sheet of the Whisper White in the regular weight, 1 sheet of Garden Green 8.5 by 11 cardstock, 4 sheets of the heavy weight or the Whisper White thick cardstock for our bases, and then we're going to use one of these designer series papers for the one sheet wonder. And I brought 3 of these out because these are the 3 papers that came as part of the Hostess promotion last month. Now I have some extra papers that I want to share with you guys, so if you order on my website and you use the host code, I'll have the link and the host code below, and use the host code 7CD7FGGX, then place an order of $40 or more, you are going to get a kit to make 8 of these cards. Now I can't stamp any images for you, but you will get all of the pre-cut pieces so that you are ready to get your cards going quickly. So let's go ahead and get started. I decided to pick this one, so I'm going to set that aside. So we've got our paper, our stamp. I'm using the Merry Christmas to All stamp set, and I'm going to use this sentiment, may the beauty of the season fill your heart with joy. I am using Real Red ink, and then I have a couple of tools that you're going to need. You're going to need a trimmer and a score blade, so with the score blade or a separate scoring device. And then I am using the Stamparatus. I've already got my sentiment mounted, so I did a little bit of prep work there and went ahead and got that ready for us. And then you're going to need a bone folder for getting some nice creases on those. Some adhesive. I am using the Tombow Mono Multi. That is my adhesive of choice. I do like to use that a lot. And a standard size hole punch. So let's go ahead and clear some things off and get all of our cutting done. So doing all of your cutting first, and then your stamping, and then your assembly, that's going to speed up your project. So that's the great way to do quick cards. So we are going to go ahead and score these cards first. And so I am going to score at the 5.5 inch mark on 3 of these. So if you do your scoring first and then your cutting, that's also going to save you a step. So I'm scoring at the 5.5 and going to come in here and do a cut at the 4 1/4. And let's go ahead and do that for 2 more for cards. So hey, if you are like me and tend to have a lot of your card bases prepped ahead of time, you're going to save even more time on these projects. So I wanted to give you the whole experience on this and not cut any corners. I guess I, cheated a little bit there with mounting that sentiment on the Stamparatus. Now, if you don't have a Stamparatus, you want to check them out because they're really great. I am going to go ahead and let me stop here a second, and I'm going to score this one at 4 1/4 and cut at 5.5. So I'm doing one of these a little different, and you don't have to really score back and forth like that. I don't know. I tend to get probably a little aggressive on my scoring. I feel like I really need to score that in there, but you really don't need to do that. So the Stamparatus, if you are not familiar with it, it is a stamp positioning tool, and it is great for helping you to quickly stamp your images. So especially on a project like this where you are mass reproducing and doing several sentiments or images in the same place on the similar size piece of cardstock. So if you don't have one, you can definitely use a stamp block. That is not a problem. There are some fun accessories that are coming out with the Stamparatus, so make sure you check those out. There's some grid paper, and you can get extra magnets and extra plates, which are nice to have as well. So the Stamparatus does come with 2 plates and 2 magnets. Having multiple plates allows you even more surfaces for doing multiple images. Now, you can already do 4 very easily, so you still get a lot with the basic Stamparatus there. So not necessary to do the extras on there. So let's go ahead and cut this green paper in. So I am going to go ahead and cut these at 3 1/4, and this is going to be the matting that we're going to put behind our sentiment. So 3 1/4 and 3 1/4. I've got this strip. I'm going to save that. We're going to use that up too. And then I'm going to cut these down to 2 3/4 inch strips. And you can put a couple of those pieces in there very easily with your Stampin' Up! Trimmer, so save a little bit of time there as well. And this should be at the 2 3/4 as well. Yep. So I have our 8 panels there. Go ahead and finish our cutting. So with the Whisper White, I'm going to cut that at 3 inches. Again at 3 inches on the short side. And I'm going to turn these strips, and they are going to be cut at 2 1/2. I don't know where you all are from. I am from Montana, and believe it or not, we actually had snow this weekend. So already, give me a thumbs up if you've already had your first snow of the season. Now, it didn't really stick, so it's not like we had a whole bunch of that hanging around, but it was more than I was ready for. Put it that way. It's definitely, you can tell fall is in the air. So on this 12 by 12 inch piece, I am going to do my first cut to cut this at 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and I'm going to trim this piece off, and we're going to come back to that later. So it is important, if you have directional paper, and this one is not, but if you have directional paper, you're going to want to make sure that I'm cutting this from the top first. So cut the strip off the side, and then I'm going to cut this down to a 5 inch panel and another 5 inch panel, and that's going to leave me a 2 by 11 1/4 pieces. And then I'm going to cut this 2 inch strip at 5 1/2, and again at 5 1/2. So I'm going to have a little bit of waste there. I don't think that's too bad. I'm going to come in on this strip as well and cut it at 5 1/2 and 5 1/2. So in the end, I've still got a little bit of trimming to do, but in the end, these are the only waste pieces that we are going to have from this project. So let's take these 5 inch by 11 3/4 panels, and we are going to cut them at 3 3/4. So I'm going to end up with 3 3/4 by 5 inch panels. So that is going to give me a 1/4 inch border all the way around my project, or all the way around my pattern paper when I put it onto my card base. All right, we just got a couple more cuts to do, and then we can start stamping. I think we're doing pretty good on time here. I think a little over 10 minutes. So I'm going to come in here and cut this piece, and let me double check my measurements here on what I had cut on the previous one. I think 1.5 is what I did. No, 1.5 inches. I used a sample one. Okay, so we're going to do 2 of these at a time at 1.5 inches. I know that sometimes people get a lot more cards out of their One Sheet Wonder projects than I do, but I love the pattern paper, and so I really like to use a lot of it and really have it be a big focus on my paper. And I also love that we've got the double-sided paper, and so I get 2 different looks from that paper. All right, we are all done with the trimmer, and so we're going to set that aside, and we're going to set all these cut pieces aside and do our stamping. So again, by doing that all at one time, we are making this project go much quicker. Now, I'm using the Merry Christmas to All stamp set. This is a wonderful set with all sorts of sentiments in it, so you can mix and match these various sentiments to come up with your own grading. And then it's got some pre-made ones as well as this little banner piece. There's 28 images in all in this set, so this is going to be one you're going to want to add to your collection because you're going to get a lot of use out of it, and it's got a lot of versatility for you as well. And we're going to bring in this real red, and I'm going to use this stamp case to lay my top panel. So again, if you're not familiar with these Stamparatuses, these pieces come off and they hinge, so you can slip them in. We've got our 1 sentiment there. If I was doing some images that had multiple layers, I could put another one on here, flip that around, and I don't have my second panel, but there's another one that goes along that side as well. You can also do some techniques called hinge stamping and reverse images, so very handy tool to have. Let's go ahead and we're going to put these in here. The other thing I love about using my Stamparatus is if you don't get an image fully inked the first time, then all you've got to do is re-ink and put it back down, and it's going to go in the exact same place. I also really wanted this image to be a nice deep dark color, so it allows me to go over it 2 or 3 times to get the depth that I'm looking for. There we go. So we've got one, and I think I might have a little bit of lint on my stamp here, so I'm going to come in and wipe it down before we finish up. Now you might notice that my photopolymer stamp has red tint on it, and that's okay. It's really not going to affect the way that this stamps, so it's just going to stain, and that's the way that it is with the photopolymer stamps. But don't worry about it. It's not going to make a difference, and that ink is not going to transfer over if you're doing another color either, so don't be concerned about that. This is probably the longest part of this project here. So why don't love if everybody could share with me what part of the country or what country you are from. Amazing thing with YouTube is how global it is, and I'm always really just amazed by the people who are tuning in across the world, and I'm very honored that they would take time to watch my videos and subscribe and be interested in what I am doing. So I hope that you find value in my videos that I'm creating. probably not going to mess anything up, but for some reason I just don't like when I've got that ink on there. Now, one of the things that I know several demonstrators have done, I am still building some of my inventory, but they have taken ink cubes, and you can buy the ink cubes from us on my website, and you can, if you have the reinkers, or you can purchase the reinkers, and you can create your own stamp. So here's a sample of one of those cubes, and these make it really easy to get your ink onto the images that are on your Stamparatus. This sometimes can be easier to have that small one. If you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, save up those Paper Pumpkin spots. They're great for that. They're great for taking for travel. If you're not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you should check it out. It's a kit that is all-inclusive. You get it right in your mailbox once a month, and we never know what it's going to be. So it's always a lot of fun because it's like getting a little surprise gift each month. And it's got everything in it that you need. It's got your inks, it's got your stamp, it's got your paper and your embellishments. And so really the only thing, it's even got adhesives. So really the only thing that you probably want is a pair of scissors, because if there's linens or threads, you're going to want some scissors to cut that. And there usually is some kind of linen or thread in the kit. And you always end up with more than what you need. They're very generous in the kits. It comes with instructions on how to complete each of the projects and everything that you need to complete them. But then what I like to do is I like to do alternative projects. And I'll link my latest Paper Pumpkin alternative project video below for you guys, and I'll try and put it up here in the video as well as a clickable link. So they're a lot of fun, and I find that it's a good challenge for me. I like to see what I can do with the kit items, and mostly my alternatives I try and only use what's in the kit. So there we go. Almost done. One more, and then we can start assembling. I hope you guys aren't hearing my kitty. He doesn't like to be closed out of the room, but he's a little vocal. he likes to talk a lot. So when I'm doing my videos, I try and have him elsewhere so it's not too noisy or disruptive. But otherwise during my craft time, a lot of times he's in here helping, which can entail climbing all over what I'm doing. So let me know if you guys have pets that like to hang out in your craft room with you. They do give us a lot of joy as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put these sentiments on the mat first. And the thing I love about the Tombow is it allows me to have a little bit of wiggle room. Now, I don't know if you noticed, I don't use a lot of this adhesive, and that's probably one of the most common errors that people make when using the Tombow or any liquid glue. A lot of my gals that come to my card classes, I just have to remind, don't need to overdo it. A little bit goes a long way. I'm probably even using more than you need. I put a few dots there and a swirl in the middle. So yeah, don't put too much in, or a couple things. It's going to ooze out the sides on you, or it's going to buckle your paper. Neither one of those are good things that we want. So again, I probably still use more than needed, but a light touch. And one more sentiment here. And there we go. Now we can start working on our bases. And I've got to find there's my two that are going a different direction. We'll do those last. Meantime, I'm going to bring these in, and with the double-sided paper, it gives us the option, whoops, line that up right. I'm like, that's not looking right. It gives us the option to just flip that paper over and get two different designs. So I just love that. And the flip side is always a great coordinating paper with Stampin' Up. So you know that all the papers in a paper pack are going to coordinate with each other, and then you've got your reverse side. So, and I'm just going to put this down here very quickly, and I'm going to stick that sentiment on. Now you could definitely use some dimensionals, and if you've watched any of my videos, you know I love dimensionals, but because these are definitely going to be going in the mail, I am trying to curb my desire for dimension to make it a little bit easier to send them out. So we're gonna try and use less dimension on this one. I can do it. I tell myself it is possible to not use dimensionals, but they are so much fun, and they're so inexpensive to use too, and add a lot to your project. So hey, if you want to throw some dimensionals on there, feel free to do that. Now if you're doing these and you have a sentiment that you want to use that's a different size, just adjust that matting piece to work with that. So don't feel like you're stuck to these dimensions. You can shrink it down, raise it up a little bit, rotate that sentiment so that's going this direction if you've got one that's a little bit more portrait design than landscape. So lots of choices there on the way you do that. So let's see, let's mix these up some, and we can get a different look even with using the same exact paper, simply by flipping the top and the bottom pieces and doing them a little different. Now if you got a couple of pieces of designer series paper and cut those down, then you can get even more variety of looks by mixing and matching those. So we're going to get 6 cards that are this design, and then we're going to do something a little different with the other 2 cards. And I just got a little flash on my camera that my battery is running down, so I guess that's my cue to really step this up and make sure I get it done in time. And I am going over my time, so I apologize that I thought I could get them done faster, but when I'm talking, I'm not as quick as I am when I'm not doing that. And again, like I said, if you have your card bases already pre-made, or maybe you buy the pre-made bases, then you're gonna be able to get this done even quicker. All right, nothing like a little pressure of a battery power running down to get you moving quicker. Almost done with these, and then we'll move on. Oops, and I did not mean to put that glue on there, so wipe that off real quick, and I'm going to come back with my adhesive remover later after we're done and make sure that I get all of that off of that piece. There we go. We've got those 6 cards done. And then on these, I'm just going to take and run them this direction. Actually, let's go. You could do it lengthwise. I think I'm going to do these a little different and go across the bottom of my paper. So these are 5.5 inch by 2 inch strips here, and the 5.5 inch by 3/4 inch strip. We're going to get the most use out of that paper as we can. And there we go. Oops. One more, and then we could leave them just like this, or we can do a little bit of embellishing on them. That is totally up to you. I like them simple the way they are here. I think they're beautiful. That designer series paper really just makes a big impact. But if we want to add some more, you could add some bling, you can add some dimensionals, or what I did on my cards is I came in and simply hole punched a bunch of little circles out of that extra piece of the garden green. And I don't know that we're going to get all of these. I will show you a picture of the completed ones. And then you can just come on in here and put some glue dots and drop these right on your paper. So instead of a circular embellishment, you're just using scraps of cardstock. You could also take some red scraps that you have. This is actually, I know I used real red for the sentiment. The cardstock's actually got cherry cobbler as the color, but I thought the real red went very well with that. And don't put too much glue on there like I just did. Want to do a little bit more. We can always come in with some Wink of Stella if I could find what I did with my Wink of Stella, but it has disappeared on me. So if you wanted to add some Wink of Stella, you could do that and put a little glitter on there, or some of our shimmer spray that we have as well, just to add a glow. But I don't think it's necessary. I think these are beautiful cards. I hope that this inspired you to do your own One Sheet Wonder and helps you get a jump start on your Christmas card projects. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you get notifications of future videos.